introducing to you today the delightful, the one and only Janelle Carlson of Oak Bloom Marketing. She is the co-founder of Oak Bloom Marketing, and she helps leaders get unstuck and level up with power, the power of their stories and their personal brands to build trust needed to exceed in your career, in your business, and your life goals. So over to you, Janelle. Take it away and let's have an awesome conversation. Thanks.
So excited for this. I'm going to start sharing. Does everybody see my screen? It should be a pretty
That's great.
awesome. Thank you for having me here today. I'm going to jump straight in. Straight away, we're going to start having some fun and launch a poll. You're going to have a poll pop in front of you, and I would love for you to just quickly react. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear personal branding? You got a few options here, and then if none of these resonate, go ahead and select other and specify in the chat. But would love to hear what everybody thinks about personal branding and your top choice. And we'll just give a few more seconds here to get all the responses. It looks like the one that's in the lead is professional image thus far. I don't want to spoiler alert, but come on, share and share your context in the chat if you so desire. All right, I think we might have a quorum to share the results. We got 95% participants completed. So let's go ahead and end this poll and share our final results. Does everybody see the results in front of them? We've got professional image at 57%, social media presence 19%, 10% leadership style, and 14% authenticity and values. So it's interesting that everybody has a little bit of a different perspective. The first thing that comes to mind with the personal brand. And I want to take a quick screenshot of this in case we want to come back to these results later. I'm going to stop sharing this and move right ahead because I wanted to ask that so we could define, what is this personal branding versus company branding? And the way I like to look at it is really, it's about being strategic and intentional of defining and expressing your value. So the goal of it is to bring you in charge of the narrative about you. And it's all the things that you mentioned in the poll. But those are, like what comes across in the personal brand. But if you're strategic about your value and you know what your story is, then you can more intentionally bring that message across. So that's how I like to look at personal branding. And then thinking about that when it comes to company branding, it's the same kind of expressing the value and identity, but it's on the collective. It's about the bigger company view of it. And we're going to talk about the intersection of those two things because the majority of you here are entrepreneurs or, own your own businesses. And there is an intersection between these two things that is the sweet spot. So why I'm so passionate about personal branding, and this is another thing that I'd love for you to play with me in the chat here. In your careers or businesses in life, have you felt any of these things? Stuck, overlooked, not seen and heard? And I think, Michelle, you're monitoring the chat for me because I can't quite see it with all the
Yes.
stuff up.
Let's see. Absolutely. Yes. Um,
It's
Lots
universal.
of that.
It's
Hmm.
universal, right? We've all felt these things. And, and my story is I felt it and I got really over it. I spent 25 years in corporate and burned out, spit out, all the things. And I realized if you can't change the sandbox, it's time to build your own. And I'm I was in the behind the scenes, like the great Oz, doing all the stuff for corporate, making the executives look good. But I didn't do it for myself. And then the aha moment, just realized how I didn't do it for myself. I didn't give myself enough play out in the market when I was in transition. And I didn't help myself build that entrepreneurial path very easily because I didn't invest in that. So that's why I'm really passionate about helping other people. So my name is Janelle Carlson, and I help leaders get unstuck and level up with the power of their story and their personal brand. Because when you build that, you can turn your story into influence and achieve your goals. So today we're going to explore how personal brands can enhance or hurt company brands. And, I want to share a few things, why it's really powerful on the personal brand side, because people want to work with people and the ones they know, like, and trust. It's kind of the table stakes of relationship building. But the data shows how powerful it is. Almost 3/4 of all Americans say they're more likely to trust someone with an established personal brand. And not only does it benefit the individual, it benefits the company. When the executives or the founder have strong personal brands, the likelihood to buy and recommend that company goes up. So when you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you're the brand. People are want to have confidence in you and your ability and longevity as a business. And it makes it easier for them to buy into you when you have that strong personal brand. So let's kind of explore here what happens when the opposite is true, when there's no like, trust. And we're going to play a little game here and want to share some stories. And we got some examples coming up. So in the chat, go ahead and just put in good or bad or thumbs up or thumbs down for these different folks if you know them. The first one is Whitney Wolfe Herd. Does everybody know Whitney? She's the founder and CEO of Bumble. And Bumble's the women's first dating and social networking app that empowered women to make the first move in initiating conversations. So what do people think about Whitney? Thumbs up, thumbs down, good, bad?
We've got some yes, we got some thumbs up. Don't knows. Um, don't know her.
Yeah.
Yes, good brand.
Yeah, so not everybody knows Whitney, maybe not quite as out there as some of them, but love her because she is kind of the epitome of a good personal brand enhancing the company brand because she has this mission-driven leadership. She's very into empowerment, which helped with her mission. She's purpose-driven, consistent. Her story is about female empowerment because she had faced her own adversary. I can't say that word. No, sorry, folks, podcast people. Um, and she turned it into innovation. She took a sexual harassment lawsuit that she had at Tinder, created her own business, and changed the whole paradigm. And that resilience really shows through. So, Richard Branson, thumbs up, thumbs down, good, bad, neutral. Anybody have an opinion on Richard Branson?
Got some thumbs up. We got some indifference. Yes, daredevil.
Yes.
Thumbs up. All sorts of good things.
Yeah.
Generally good. No opinions.
Definitely. I do see Richard Branson having, he's authentic with his personal brand. He's basically that daredevil and it comes out. And so that adventureness came out in his business as well. So there's a lot of great leadership style. And some of it's risky, like he's memorable, but maybe some of it could be outdated. I did have an SNL clip about all the billionaires going to space. And it was pretty funny, but not enough time. But some of that feels outdated when you've got all these rebel billionaires fighting in space. Like, are people really resonating with that? So, although there's a lot of good qualities, there's some maybe risky things to think about in his personal brand. And last one, this should be fairly obvious that it's not going in the right direction, Mr. Elon Musk. His personal brand, if people want to share, I generally,
We've got fading, scary, very negative, vomiting, boo, ugh.
definitely more in
Um,
the universal thumbs down, right? He started out.
ick, insecure. As a cheesehead, it hurts my Wisconsin brand for sure.
Definitely. He hasn't done well for many of his businesses in that intersection because there's brand misalignment. I mean, I personally bought a Tesla years before I even cared about Elon Musk, and it erodes that sustainability mission, all the things that people want into that brand to support. And then all of a sudden there's somebody who's not in alignment with it and it's doing things that don't quite make sense. It's not great for company brand as we've seen. So Now you're seeing some examples of the intersection between personal and company brand and the benefits, how it enhances trust and credibility. It humanizes the business, and the brand can have a positive halo effect, like with Whitney, and the challenges, lack of brand consistency, and the evolution isn't there with the persona of the person, of the founder, with the company brand, and the negative halo effect. And now we're going to kind of set you up for the workshop or for the breakout. And basically, here's a couple of things to help build a stronger personal brand. And what we want you to do is think about how your personal and corporate values align as a starting point. So, and this will be the setup for the breakout. To think about, what are the core principles you live by and find commonalities with your personal brand and target audience and how it aligns to your company. And then secondarily, how you're going to share this authentically and strategically. And social media is a great first place to do the sharing, and how you use social media to target your audience, and is it very strategic? And here's a quick model to get you set up for this. The ideal journey of your personal brand is getting to your why, your uniqueness and audience, and that's the depth of what we do at Oak Bloom. And then it aligns to your company brand, mission, vision, values. And this becomes a sweet spot of your ideal company story. So that's the journey that we take founders and business owners through in building their story. And I just wanted to give you that framework. And you're going to start out in the breakout just reflecting on one value and characteristic of your personal brand that aligns with your company mission and values. And if you want to showcase with some actions and want to share that with me after, I welcome anybody to email me at janelle@oakbloommarketing.com and share your top 2 actions from this. How are you going to bring this forward into the world? So it's not just something you did here today, that you can actually bring it forward into the next steps for your business. So I think this is about the pivot and the exact perfect timing to make that handoff for the breakout room.